Hi guys, I am in video making mode today. So I'm just sitting here finishing my dinner and I'm sitting here thinking about my first deal that I closed, my first transaction, and how challenging it was and how it almost turned into a nightmare. Um, and then some deals that I did were just super easy. It's just like every transaction is different. So I wanted to sit here, finish my dinner, and talk to you guys about my first transaction. So let's get into the video. So I met this lady through cold calling. So I called her off of a just listed script. She said she was thinking about selling herself and ended up setting a listing appointment with her and met her and was there maybe, I don't know, an hour. And she ended up signing the contract and hiring me to list her home for sale. So she was selling her home and buying another one. So that's when you have that situation where you are selling a home for your client and they're buying another one. There's so many little details that you have to figure out versus if you just have like a single buyer and a single seller. When you have both, there's just a lot more involved. So we ended up getting an offer on her home. We accepted that offer, but we hadn't found her a home yet. So once we got an accepted offer, we had to get moving, finding her a home. I focus primarily on working with sellers. My buyer referrals are usually referrals. I don't prospect for buyers, so they're usually referrals, or my buyers are my sellers. So when it comes to buying property, I get really specific about where they want to be, what their criteria is, because I don't want to show you 10, 20, 25 homes. We're just not doing that. So my average client so far has seen a total of, the first home I showed her, she wrote an offer on. One of my other clients, the sixth home that I showed her, she wrote an offer on. So anyway, so we ended up finding her a home, and the home was perfect. It was everything that she wanted, down to the T. Everything. I remember she told me she didn't want a yard because she was the older lady. So she couldn't do yard work. She didn't want a yard in the front or the back. Little to no carpet. So this home had very little carpet, only in the bedrooms. One story. I mean, it was everything she asked for in this home is what I found her. And so anyway, she wrote an offer on it. We got the offer accepted. But there was a tree in the front yard of this home. And it was a big tree, a really big tree. A really big tree. And I guess when we were looking at the home initially, she didn't notice the tree. So we write an offer on the property. We get the offer accepted. We go over there for home inspection. This is when she notices the tree. So I remember her asking the home inspector about the tree. And he goes, yeah, I can recommend we get it cut down because the branches are kind of touching the roof. So I can recommend in my report that we get, that they trim the tree. And And oh, the AC. She noticed the AC unit was looking a little rusty, but the home inspector confirmed it worked fine. So anyway, she worried me to death about this tree. She almost backed out of the transaction because of this tree. Okay. I told her, I said, Mrs. Seller, you can get the tree cut down. I said, I know you wanted a home with no yard. This home has no yard, but it does have this big tree. You know, I can find or recommend a tree trimming company, and they can come over and they can cut down the tree. She didn't hear none of that. She told me one day, I called her one day just to update her on the transaction. She said she was having diarrhea over this tree. She had been on the toilet all night. She can't sleep over this tree. She was having nightmares about the tree. And again, I'm like, Mrs. Seller, I understand this is a concern for you, but you don't want to walk away from the perfect home for you over a tree. We can get the tree cut down. So, I ended up finding a tree trimming service for her. I even called, got a quote for her of how much they would charge to cut this tree down. And she still worried me about the tree up until the day we closed. She was driving by the house, looking at the tree. I don't know why she was doing drive-bys just to look at the tree, but I don't know. But I could not wait. When we got down to the end, I could not wait to close this transaction because this tree just was a thorn in my side. I mean, I still think about the tree sometimes. And anyway, I closed that deal for her. And the home that I sold about a month later after we closed, the buyer's agent on that home called me and said that the whole house had mold in it. So that was kind of shocking that my first listing that I worked so hard for and finally got, the whole house had mold in it. So dealing with that, and then the home that she ended up buying, the garage door fell down, like, I guess like the third or fourth day she was in the home, the garage door stopped working. She called me crying and screaming, and, you know, this is why we have home warranties in place. There was a home warranty, so I, made arrangements to get the home warranty company out there, and just everything. At the end, I really don't know if she was happy, and it was very unfortunate because I worked really hard for her to make sure she, wanted everything that she wanted, and, she just, I don't know. I don't know if she was happy or not, but, it's kind of sad when a transaction ends and you can't really keep the relationship you have with the client, She was one of those clients that I just had to just kind of just close and be done and just leave it at that and just wish her the best because she kind of became a nightmare. She did after it closed. I remember her calling me screaming in the phone, she regrets it. She should have never moved. And then she would text me and say, I'm sick, call the paramedic. It was just, and I just had to just be done. I had to be done. But the good news is, after that, my third transaction was one of the easiest transactions. And I was so incredibly grateful that that transaction turned out to be fairly easy. So I hope my first transaction kind of I'm sure it's not going to be my last nightmare transaction, but that was my summary and my story of what happened my first transaction. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're enjoying your dinner. If you like my channel, please subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.